Welcome to the EQ Video Tip. I'm your host, Eric Forsetter. It's great to have you back. Let's jump into the goals of EQ Video Tip before we get to this week's tip. Welcome back. Today's episode is a very interesting one. It comes to us from Justin Bariso, and we're going to talk about something that happens to all of us. Have you ever had a time where you said something stupid and go, oh man, why did I do that? I shouldn't have said that, or I blurted something out, or I had a reaction that I shouldn't have? Well, we've all been there, and we're going to talk about a tip called the golden question, which will help us and prevent us from doing this. Justin talks about that he was driving the other day with his family, and all of a sudden someone pulled out with blatant disregard for the right of way, cut him off, and his first thought was, I'm going to go and follow this guy and give him a piece of his mind and tell him exactly how he feels. However, he learned something long ago called the golden question, and that prevented him from having what we call an amygdala hijack or an emotional hijack, where you go and do something that you regret. Let's jump into how to prevent those hijacks from happening. Tip number one, when we're going to have this emotional hijacking and say something that we're really going to regret, you're going to ask yourself the golden question. And the golden question is actually 5 questions in one. How will I feel if I say this 1 day from now? How will I feel about this 1 week from now? How will I feel about what I did 1 month from now? How will I feel about this in 1 year from now? And how will I feel about this in 5 years from now? So 5 questions to think about. And this all has the ability to think about the way we process our emotions. We're going to put that to test right now and give you a few examples of how to ask these golden questions. Tip number 2. We're actually hijacking or hacking the hijack that's out there. And it goes beyond just helping you with that road rage if that author was going to go out and actually chase down that person. Let's use an example that our author gives us about quitting your job or trying something new. And you've been longing, let's say, to get the courage to say, I'm going to quit my job and do something else and go along and pursue your passion. However, when you go to make that big decision, your boss begs you and says, please stay. We really need you. And by the way, here's some extra money. Here's a lot of extra money just so that you'll be a part of this. And they promise you a big raise. The raise is very tempting because, let's face it, we're all in some way money motivated. But at the end of the day, before your emotional hijack kicks in and says, sure, I'm not going anywhere, I'll take the raise, consider these questions. How do I feel about it in a day? Well, you'll probably feel pretty good because, you don't have to stretch out of your comfort zone anymore. You've got extra money. In a week, not so bad. Thinking about it, I can spend that extra money on the paycheck. It'll be great. Maybe I'll go out and buy something new. In a month, how are we going to feel about that? So, you bought some things with a paycheck, it made you feel a little better, but it wasn't that special after all, and if you'd waited, you probably could have accumulated those things or taken that vacation that you wanted to. In a year, you're probably saying to yourself, ugh, why didn't I quit? In 5 years, why do I still work here? I can't believe it. Put those things to the test before you make that reaction. That's the hack in real time. Tip number 3, by using the hack, you're actually taking yourself and moving yourself into the future. It takes you to your future self so you can reduce your regrets. You can make better decisions. And that's the power of using the golden question. So use it in your day and use your emotions to work for you as opposed to against you when you start thinking about, oh man, I'm really frustrated and I just want to blurt something out or I want to do something that's out there. Remember, the golden question can be used for anything. It could be for deciding a relationship or deciding what to do at work or something with your family. It doesn't matter. What matters is you take time before you make a quick snap decision and use the golden question to allow yourself to think through it about how it will impact you, not just in a day, but in a year or 5 years or in your future life. concludes this week's EQ video tip. As a bonus, we are going to ask you now to think about and go back to a recent situation where you said something that you regretted or did something that you wish you could have handled differently. Take a moment and pretend that you're still in that situation and think about, how will I feel in a day? How will I feel in a week? How will I feel in a month? How will I feel in a year? And how about 5 years? Take a look on the screen. We'll give you some of those tips again right now. So that concludes our EQ video tip for today. Try incorporating some of these tips into your daily routine. But remember, use what works best for you and personalize it for yourself. Thank you always to our great research team for providing us with some great tips today. As always on EQ video tip, we want to end with gratitude. So thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. Here are some resources that you can use if you want more information on EQ going forward. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thank you.